here we are. Another late night, another late podcast. Because that's how my life is. Few things. Last week was rough. Both of our kids came down with some stomach bug. And it was pretty brutal. It lasted about a week. Not like some 24, 48 hour virus. They were down for the count. Low-grade fever, throwing up, and coming out the other end too. So last week was definitely a challenging week as a parent. I hate when I see my kids sick and when they're sick. I don't know about you if you have kids, but every time they're sick, I'm always like, I wish it was me and not them, because it's really sad. So that was my week last week. I hope you guys had a better week. This is Release Rotation. This is going to be episode 63. Thank you so much for listening. I know you don't have to, but I appreciate it. And I need to stop saying that because it's stupid to say. Anyways, I'm going to start out telling a little story. So, 21 years ago, I was a senior in high school in Edmond, Oklahoma, which is about, it's basically like where I lived was like 4 or 5 miles south of the Oklahoma city limits, but from downtown Oklahoma City was probably like 15 miles. So really close to Oklahoma City. When people in California ask me where I'm from, I say Oklahoma City because it's easier than explaining where Edmond is. So, but my hometown is Edmond, Oklahoma, / Oklahoma City. But 21 years ago, I was a senior in high school. And one of my best friends then, and still now, his name's BJ, we were gifted some tickets to the NCAA tournament in Oklahoma City at the Myriad at the time, where the Thunder play now, which I think is the Ford Center, which was Chesapeake Arena, or was Ford Center now Chesapeake Arena? I get it confused because arenas change their names all the time. But the only basketball arena in Oklahoma City was the Myriad that could actually host anything as far as NCAA goes. And this arena is where the first round of the NCAA tournament was for the 1997-98 season. But we were gifted 2 tickets, and it was the last, second semester of our senior year. And so these games, as you know, the NCAA tournament starts early in the morning. So my buddy BJ and I said, hey, we have tickets. Let's skip school with our parents' consent, of course. Don't go skipping school without your parents' consent. So our parents got us out of school. BJ and I drove down to Oklahoma City, and we had no clue what we were going to witness because the first game was Valparaiso versus Ole Miss, the Mississippi Rebels. And right away, as I say that, if you're a basketball fan, college basketball fan, you'll know right away that that was the game that was a really close game. Valparaiso was a 13 seed, and they were playing a number 4 seed. And in 1998, there were upsets, but I'm pretty sure most people picked Ole Miss to upset Valparaiso in that game. But it came down to the last seconds, and Homer Drew, who was the head coach at the time of Valparaiso, drew up a play for his son, who is named Bryce Drew, who's a college coach, called Pacer. And this play with I don't remember how much time was left. It was under 5 seconds, maybe under 3 seconds. They had to throw it full court, so they had to go the full length of the court. And Jamie Sykes, who was the inbounder, winds up, throws a touchdown to a Valparaiso player. He then tips it to Bryce Drew, who's running on the right side by the 3-point line. Bryce Drew gets it, puts it up at the buzzer, 3-pointer. Nailed it. The Crusaders of Valparaiso go on to win that game by a point. Up to that point, I had been to NCAA games. I've seen buzzer beaters like Duke over Kentucky with Christian Laettner and Grant Hill, but I had never seen one in person, and I still remember it like it was yesterday. I remember the Ole Miss fans being in disbelief. I remember Ole Miss fans flipping off everybody, whether they were a Valparaiso fan or not a Valparaiso fan. I had never seen so many middle fingers in my life, and it was awesome. That right then and there was one of the best sports moments I've ever seen in real life. And I've said this before, it's not the best game I've ever seen in real life, as far as sports go, but it was the best moment in sports that I've seen in real life. And that, I always watched the tournament. I always filled out a bracket, but that game sealed it for me. And I don't even know. I mean, it's incredible to say that I was there and that I was there with one of my best friends. We couldn't believe it because we're just basketball fans. It didn't matter, of course, obviously. It was Ole Miss and Valparaiso. I had no clue who Valparaiso was or even where they were located until that game. We just wanted to skip school and go to some basketball games because the NCAA tournament was in Oklahoma City. And I'm so glad that my parents checked me out of school. And I'm glad that BJ's did too, so that we could go to that game. So I tell this story because, one, it was amazing, and I'm so excited and so happy that I was there because it's a story and a sporting event that I will always remember and will be ingrained in my memory. And I also tell it because the NCAA tournament is the best sporting event there is. There's nothing better. It's so fun to watch. There's always upsets. There tends to be buzzer beaters every year. I love it. And so I fill out a bracket every year. And my buddy Hans wins, and he says he has a perfect bracket every year. We've never seen his bracket, but he says it's perfect, so I believe him. So, I gotta take his word for it. But if you ever get a chance to go to an NCAA tournament game, go to the first round. Go watch teams you've never heard of or thought you would ever see in real life. Because I've never seen Valparaiso play again, and I've never seen Mississippi play again. And I'm not sure that I will. Maybe. But go, enjoy the NCAA tournament. There's nothing like it. March Madness. We know that it's called that. So go enjoy it. Have fun. Fill out a bracket, because it's also fun to follow your bracket and see how awesome or how awful you do. And so go do it. It's here. The first round was tonight. Technically, the play-in games were tonight, and then the actual tournament starts on Thursday. I filled out my bracket tonight, and I got to be honest, I have not watched much college football this year. Or college football. Sorry, it's late, and I'm tired. College basketball this year. I've watched a few games here and there, mainly Oklahoma State, because obvious reasons. That's my alma mater. It's my favorite team. I've watched, and then some of the top games. I've seen Tennessee play. I've seen Duke play. But that's about it. But I filled out my bracket, and my final four that I have Duke versus Michigan. Should be a good one. And then I have Virginia versus Houston in my final four, and I have Duke beating Virginia in the national championship, which is kind of funny because Virginia got beat in the first round last year, the first men's team to ever get beat as a number 1 seed to a number 16 seed. But they managed to lose last year in the first round. But I have them going to the championship game against Duke, and I have Duke winning 83-75. So there you have it. I can't change it. I can't fudge the teams or anything, because that's my final four. Duke versus Michigan, Virginia versus Houston, Duke beating Virginia. So there you have it. I hope you guys filled out some brackets, and I hope you do better than I did. I obviously probably would have picked Oklahoma State if they were in it to win a few games. And I will say I picked OU to lose in the first round. So the Sooners of Oklahoma, which is the rival of Oklahoma State and where my brother went. So I have OU losing in the first round of the NCAA tournament. But as far as NCAA basketball goes, it's something that I followed, very, very heavily my entire life, pretty much, up until the last several years, just because it's harder with a full-time job and family. I don't watch as much sports, which is fine. I feel like that's how it should be. But I will say that a few things I kind of find weird is the fact that, the automatic bid. So what that means is if you win your conference tournament, you get an automatic bid to March Madness, to the big tournament. So if you win, say, the Big 12 tournament, if Kansas wins the Big 12 tournament, they automatically get in. If Oregon wins the Pac-12 tournament, they automatically get in. And I know this is a popular opinion, and I posted this on Twitter, but I think they should do away with the conference tournament automatic bid. And there's positives and negatives for this, and I see both sides for this, for not getting rid of conference tournaments as far as the automatic bid goes. But I think the automatic bid should go to the regular season champion, because I think it's a lot harder to be the regular season champion in your conference than it is to be the tournament champion. Because I think a team can get lucky, and I think a team that goes 16-16 or 17-17 can somehow end up winning their conference tournament and get into the big tournament. And I understand the excitement and the fun, but I also don't. I think that it's kind of a situation where the conference tournament champion shouldn't get that automatic bid. I think it's something that needs to change, and it would get a lot of fight because it's been that way for a very long time. But it's just weird to me that a team can get into the tournament by just winning their 3 games or 4 games in their conference tournament and get into the big dance. I think it's a lot harder to be the regular season champ. And I get it that the regular season champ in a conference is most likely going to go, but I think that team should get the automatic bid. And then I see the other side of it, though, where what's there to play for then? I mean, conference tournament's pretty big. And I get it that, maybe Valparaiso, I don't even know actually if Valparaiso won their conference tournament to get that automatic bid. As a 13 seed, I'm going to assume they did win their conference tournament and then got that automatic bid. Maybe if that's the case, we wouldn't have had that game. There's some other games we probably wouldn't have had. Just like last year with Virginia losing in the first round, which I can't even tell you who they lost to in the first round. But we probably wouldn't have gotten that either if that went to the regular season champ in that conference instead of the tournament, conference tournament champion. And so I don't know what the perfect answer is, and I'm not sure there is a perfect answer, but I also think it's weird that, a team on the bubble doesn't get in because a conference tournament dictated that, because a 18 and 17 team got in, which then leaves out like a 18 and 13 team or 18 and 12 team or something from a much tougher conference. If it's like Virginia Tech got snubbed a few years in a row or a couple years in a row, they were on the bubble, and I guarantee you that some random conference conference tournament champion won and knocked them out. And I know it probably happened this year. I think Texas was on the bubble and they didn't get in. And I guarantee you it's because some team who shouldn't even be in the tournament won their conference tournament. And whatever, it is what it is. That's the way it is. And like I said, it's an unpopular opinion. And I don't have a perfect answer. I don't know the perfect solution. But I just think there's got to be a different way. And I think the regular season champ should get that automatic bid and then go from there. So it's interesting. I don't know. I feel, if a team that's 18 and 17 does win and gets in, I feel like it's like a 6-6 bowl team getting into a bowl game. Who cares? And maybe that's the thing. Who cares? They're going to lose anyways. Most likely. They're not going to win a championship. A team that gets in that doesn't deserve to be there, they're not going to win. So maybe in the long run it doesn't matter. And I don't want to ruin any fun because conference tournaments are amazing. And I feel like it's just a bigger thing for those smaller schools, which I get. So that's how I feel about that. If you want to talk about it, I would love to talk about it. Text me if you know me. Hit me up on Twitter or Instagram at JOHNWSNYDER. I got some replies on Twitter. One from a really old friend who I went to school with. He's a little younger than me, but big basketball guy. Actually won a state championship in high school, so I respect that. His name's Luke Whitmire, but we had some good back and forth about this, and I see it both ways, but that's just how I feel that's the way it should be. So, who knows? I don't know if it'll ever change, whether it should or not. That's just my feeling. So, we will see in the future, right? But I'm super excited for the tournament. It's here. It's time. And there's going to be some good games. And I know that my Final Four is going to be right on, just like it is every year. I think I've gotten the Final Four right maybe twice in the last 15 years. Maybe. For sure once, I remember. I'm just saying twice, but I know for sure once. So maybe this is the year I get another one right. But I doubt it. But NCAA basketball, that's where my real love for sports came. And that's why I love talking about sports. And so here we are. I'm on my own podcast, my own creative outlet, talking about sports. Just staying with basketball, but going to the NBA. James Harden, who I've said before on here, is, I think, the best one-on-one player in the NBA. He's amazing, ridiculous. I wish he was still in Oklahoma City. I wish he was still a Thunder. I can't even imagine what that team would have done. I don't want to think about it. That team with Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Russell Westbrook, I'm sure they would have won a championship by now, but I don't want to think about it because it's Not even a possibility. But James Harden, though, tonight became the only player to score 30-plus points against all 29 I can't talk tonight. I'm sorry. I'm tired, but I wanted to get this out. James Harden is the only player to score 30-plus points against all 29 opponents in a single season since the league expanded to 30 teams in 2004. The only player to ever do it in the last 15 years, to score 30-plus points against every opponent. That's pretty incredible. That's an amazing stat. And he also set another record for most three-point attempts in a season. And there's still like 11 games left. He's attempted over 870-something threes. That's a lot of three-pointers in a season. And so he'll hit 900 in the next 11 games for sure. But that's ridiculous. Moving on to Major League Baseball. Mike Trout. I thought Bryce Harper's deal was excessive. His deal was really small, though, compared to what Mike Trout's going to get with the Anaheim Angels. Mike Trout's going to make almost $500 million for playing baseball. $500 million. Almost. $430 million for 12 years. He's 26 right now. And he is going to be making $430 million over the next 12 years. So by the time he's 38, he's going to have a ton of money. It's ridiculous. More power to him, though. If you're doing what you love and you're making money doing it, it's awesome. I support it. It's great. It's not my money. And if someone wants to pay him that, that's great. If someone wants to pay me that, that's great. I was talking to a friend today at lunch, and I was just saying how if someone gave me $3 million, just $3 million, I wouldn't even know what to do with it. But the fact that he's going to make $430 million, I mean, that's just ridiculous. Does he deserve it? I don't know if anyone deserves it. That's so much money. I'm not sure anyone deserves that much money. But they're going to pay Mike Trout that. He's going to be an Angel for life, I think. And I hope they win a championship with him, because that's a lot of money to bet on a player without a championship. They haven't even won a playoff game in the 7 years he's been there. They've been to the playoffs once and they got swept in the first round. So we'll see. I'm sure they'll win some playoff games in the next 12 years. How many? I don't know. Will they win a championship? No idea. But good for him for securing that bag of dough. I mean, that's not a bag. I mean, that's a truck. That's a Brinks truck backing up to his front door. It's incredible. So much money. But we'll see. It's interesting, too, because I saw a stat with the 5 highest paid players in Major League Baseball before this, and 4 of them were pitchers, and then it was Mike Trout. He was like number 3 behind 2 pitchers. He was in the middle, I think. But now he's by far the top paid player in Major League Baseball ever with that deal. So, insane. So, he's going to be making $430 million over 12 years. I've got an ad that is going to make me almost $5 over the next month. So, I'm going to go ahead and play that now, and we will be right back. And we're back. So, as before, if you've listened to this, I always like to talk about sports in the beginning and then do my ad, throw the ad in there, and then talk about life things, whatever it might be. And so, this week, I want to talk about just how this podcast started in January of 2018, and I said I was going to do one a day, and that lasted like 50 days. And I realized that was stupid. I was just doing it to do it. I was throwing in 3-minute episodes here, 6-minute episodes here, 20-minute episodes here. And so it just wasn't the best for me, and it didn't feel right because I was just doing it to do it. I had no intention behind it other than I felt like I had to do one. And now with this podcast and me doing one a week and still not even getting them out on Sunday nights when I want to, where they're available on Monday mornings, I still haven't figured that out yet. It's a struggle. It's an uphill battle, but I'm learning. And I just want to thank you for joining me on that journey. Today at work, my buddy Mike, we were talking about my podcast because I was getting made fun of for not going to play basketball tonight because I wanted to come do this. And Mike reminded me that he has like a whole section in his notes app about my podcast and things that I've said and things that I could work on or fix. And that's a good friend. And I forgot about that, but Mike, thank you. And I appreciate it because it's been a struggle and it's been a learning experience, and I hope I'm getting better, and I only want to get better. So thank you for that. I'm on my way. I'm not giving up because I know that this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. I know that I'm not going to get there really quick. I'm not going to be doing and having an amazing podcast right away. I know that it's a marathon. I know that it's going to take time, and I'm okay with that because I love doing this. I love talking. I love, talking about sports and whatever it might be. And I was also thinking of how much fun it would be to have a co-host on here, because that would be fun. So who knows? We'll see what happens in the future. But right now, I'm doing this and it's a marathon. And so I'm going to just keep plugging along. I'm going to take my time. And the funny thing too is like a marathon. I mean, a sprint and a marathon you have to train for. But a marathon, even training for a marathon, takes hours and dedication and discipline. Where, sprints, you can run a 100-yard dash in 4.5 seconds. If you're a world-class athlete, or you can run it in 12 seconds if you're me. So this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. I know that. And so I'm taking my time as I figure this out, and I'm learning, and I'm struggling, and I thank you for coming on this journey with me, because that's what it is. It's an incredible journey, and it's crazy to think that we live in a time where I can sit in my office and just talk, and it goes out on the internet to tens of people. This would not have been an opportunity, or it wasn't 15 years ago, 20 years ago. So I appreciate the listeners, and the technology is incredible. That this is something you can do, and that I can just pursue my creative outlet now with this podcast, because that's what it is for me. And so again, I'm excited for this marathon. I'm just getting started, and they say it takes a while to be an overnight success. Like, everyone thinks that an overnight success is easy and just happens because of something that a person did, or released, or talked about, or published, or drew, or music, a song that they made, that, oh, this guy's an overnight success. But if you really dig into the story and look at what's behind it, because there's always a story behind the story. And an overnight success, I think it takes 5 to 7 years to be an overnight success. So I'm not going anywhere, obviously, because this is fun for me and I enjoy it and I know that it's going to get better. And so, maybe one day I'll be an overnight success and maybe I won't, but I'm going to have fun along the way. Thanks for joining me on this journey. This was episode 63 of Release Rotation. I'm John W. Snyder. We'll talk later.